Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining the first webinar in our fraud awareness series. I am Adriana with Health Advantage Credit Union, and I will be the presenter for this series. If you have not already, I would highly suggest that you register for the upcoming sessions as you see on the screen. Each session has examples, tips, and resources that may be beneficial in preventing scams and fraud. They all begin at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you do miss them, we will have recordings available at a future date and time. A couple housekeeping items. You will be muted throughout the presentation. If you have any questions, please place your questions in the chat. I will review at the end of the presentation. If you do experience any technical difficulties during the presentation, please know that the presentation is being recorded and will be available for viewing at a future date. We will email when that is available. So let's get started. The topic we are reviewing in this session is how to spot a scam. A quick disclaimer, this information is for educational purposes only and not for legal advice. To begin, I want to provide some data from a few different sources to illustrate the financial impact that scams have across the United States, and also illustrate the prevalence of scams in the case you or someone you know has ever experienced a scam. You are not the only one. I want to specifically highlight a few scams as they are also scams that we have seen impact our members. So you'll note that investment scams are at the top, romance scams, business imposters, which is just someone pretending to be a well-known business, job scams, online shopping, and tech support scams. And if you look over where the arrow is pointing, you'll see how much in the United States that people are losing because of these scams. So we're looking in the billions of dollars. Also, I want to highlight the top contact methods that are used to commit these scams. So again, you'll see social media is right there at the top. I think probably Facebook is the majority of that social media, unfortunately. Again, you're in the billions of dollars. Websites or apps are still pretty high. Phone calls. And then you'll see also there are still emails, texts, mail, online ads, or pop-ups as well, which are still significantly impacting. The second data source comes from the Internet Crime Complaint Center's 2024 annual fraud report. And we're looking at specifically these three sources that I'm going to show you are for 2024. You'll see the similarity amongst the top scams compared to the Federal Trade Commission, which was the previous report. So you've got investment scams, you've got your tech support scams, your romance scams, employment scams, and advanced fee scams that I've highlighted there. And again, I highlighted these ones as it's the ones that we've seen impact our members the most. But you'll see all of the other scams out there as well that are impacting people across the United States. The last data source that I just want to show, and again, reiterates the similarity amongst these different agencies, is from the Better Business Bureau. And again, we're looking at their 2024 annual scam tracker report. Again, you'll see the similarity between the scams that are most common across the United States. And you've got your investment scam at the top, employment, romance scam, online purchases, advanced fee loan, and the tech support all are in the top again. Again, there's some other ones in there, but those are the ones that I see the most. The more you learn about the most prevalent scams and where they occur, the less likely you are to fall victim to a scam. The Federal Trade Commission has a plethora of articles on spotting these various scams. And just a note, there is a scam that targets each demographic. However, older adults are often targeted more as they often have accrued savings over their lifetime that scammers want to take. So let's get into it. The 4 basic signs to be aware of when detecting a scam are that scammers pretend to be from an organization you know or an individual you trust. Scammers say that there's a problem or a prize. They pressure you to act immediately, and they tell you to pay in a very specific way. We will break each of these down with some examples, as well as walk through a full scam example in this presentation. So let's talk about who scammers pretend to be. They pretend to be tech support specialists. They could even pretend to be Microsoft. They pretend to be authority figures, such as law enforcement or an attorney. They pretend to be well-known businesses, such as Amazon or Apple. They may even pretend to be a romantic partner or a financial institution or government agency, such as the IRS or Social Security Administration. They may pretend to be a family member or a friend, or even someone that you work with. The list is unending, but these are some of the top people and entities that scammers like to pretend to be to steal your information and your money. So sign 2 of a scam says scammers say there is a problem or a prize. We're going to start by looking at examples of a problem. Some common problems that scammers like to exploit are you'll be arrested for some unexpected violation. You have an unauthorized transaction on a financial or a merchant account, such as Amazon. Your device has a virus. You have unpaid bills, or you overpaid a bill. The scammer may even try to extort money out of you by claiming that they have your sensitive, non-public information and they'll send it to your contacts. Now to look at a prize. Think of a prize as not just something that you may win, but generally as some type of benefit you may receive from an interaction. Some common prizes or benefits associated with scams are you just got a new job. Maybe it's a new remote job. You are paying an extremely low price compared to market value of an item. You'll receive unusually, consistently high returns on an investment. Maybe you won a prize that you never entered to win. You got engaged to someone you met online. Or you found a product that cures an illness or problem that medical professionals can't resolve. The hallmark of a scam that has a prize or other positive benefit is that it's often too good to be true. So watch out for this. Scammers use pressure tactics to make you act before you have time to think. They use urgency, trust, and fear to get you to act. Looking at some examples of messages, I have underlined the urgency used in the messages that may get a victim to act. So please verify now or your card will be locked. That's going to get someone to feel like, okay, this is an urgent matter. Contact a technician ASAP. And that's followed by the viruses on your phone. Immediate payments required to avoid arrest. Pay now. Again, an urgent message oftentimes gets you to act before you have time to think. Next, we'll look at trust. So we'll look at some of the text that builds that trust in your mind. So messages might be like, hey, grandma, it's me. And you think this is your grandchild, and they're saying, I lost my phone. So your guard might be, this sounds legitimate. You want to help out your grandchild. So that's where that trust factor comes in. Or I'm really glad we are getting closer. So maybe you're in this relationship and they're reinforcing that trust by building that connection with you. And then if you read the rest of that message, they're asking for some money. And then, hey, this is HR. You don't think your HR department's going to fraud you necessarily, but a scammer pretending to be your HR will. And again, they're then asking you for your routing and account number, but that trust factor might be there because you're like, oh, it's HR. We need to update this. So I trust them. They'll get this done for me. And lastly, looking at fear and some of the messaging that may generate that fear factor. Pay a bond immediately to avoid arrest. Secure your identity before your credit is destroyed. We have access to your private photos and browsing history. Pay $500 in Bitcoin or we share it with your contacts. All of these are trying to elicit a fear response for you to automatically just pay them whatever they ask to hopefully get them to go away. And they're using that fear response. So those are just some examples. Scammers use your emotional response against you. Looking at the fourth sign of a scam is the way they ask you to pay. And in some cases, it's not so much the way they ask you to pay, but the way they gain access to an account and the payment method they use to pay from there once they've gained that access. Different scams use different payment methods, but typically they will use a payment method that is least traceable, where you won't be able to recover those funds. So gift cards. As a note on gift cards, never pay someone with a gift card. This will never be legitimate request. Gift cards are for gifts. So feel free to buy them for gifts for family members, but never send anyone gift cards as a request for payment. Cryptocurrency. Again, similar to gift cards, you never want to pay someone in cryptocurrency or invest in cryptocurrency through a friend that you met online. Cash or check. So never accept a check from a person or business you do not know or you just recently discovered online. This will almost always be fraud, and you will be responsible for any losses if you do deposit a fraudulent check into your account. For cash, scammers often tell victims to withdraw large sums of cash and then instruct the victim to place the money in a Bitcoin ATM. Maybe they ask them to purchase gift cards, or they may even send a courier to your house to get the cash under some sort of guise. With mobile apps like Venmo or Cash App, just know that these are not insured and your money is not protected when you use these applications. While they may be convenient to send money, it is also a favorite for scammers to use. Try to only use it when you are with a family or a family member or a friend in person if you do need to transfer them money. Scammers may also ask you to make a wire transfer or use external transfers through online banking. They could also make deposits this way as well, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. Lastly, they may have you pay with a debit or credit card or use a credit card line of credit to get money out of you in the scam. With the credit card, they often make fraudulent electronic payments to your credit card after you've run up your bill purchasing gift cards or conducting cash advances. And then those payments return, leaving you with a large bill, sometimes over your credit limit. No matter what, if someone tries to get you to only pay in gift cards, cryptocurrency, or through a mobile app, know that these are automatic red flags and you need to cut off communication right away. Note, scammers both take money and sometimes they send money that you then send to someone else. And this is called a money mule scheme. Acting as a money mule or being a knowing participant in a scam does open you up to the risk for being criminally charged along with that scammer. So remember, if you spot any of these 4 signs, pause. Take a deep breath. You don't need to rush, even if someone is telling you to rush. Verify. Take time to verify the content of a message or contact or business. Verify through direct sources. For example, if your grandchild says they lost their phone, contact the number you usually call them on and see if they answer. If they don't, call their parents. If you are meeting someone online, share that information with a trusted contact and do a background check. If you're looking to purchase from a new website, research the website and business first. Always check the URL. Secure. If you feel that any of your information may be compromised, secure it. Change your passwords. Place a credit freeze or fraud alert if your social security number was compromised. Delete accounts that may have been compromised. Change email addresses and get new account numbers if you feel that they are compromised. And report. Report the scam to the Federal Trade Commission, the Better Business Bureau, or other agencies applicable. The more reports that are made, the more likely the scammers will be caught. So in this section, we are going to review an example of a variation of a financial institution imposter scam. And we'll use what we've learned to identify the signs of the scam. Financial imposter scams impact all financial institutions, where scammers pretend to be a financial institution you have a relationship with to steal your money. In this example, the scammer is pretending to be Health Advantage Credit Union. So Marcia just received a text message asking her to verify a transaction. Marcia doesn't recognize the transaction. Let's take a look at the message. The message is pretending to be from Health Advantage Credit Union. The problem is that there is a transaction that Marcia did not conduct. The pressure is that the message is asking Marcia to verify or stop the transaction now by going to this link. that is her online banking potentially. Marcia doesn't know the 4 signs of a scam and proceeds to click the link. She has bills coming out that need to be paid, and $500 would deplete her account. So Marcia comes to a site that looks like her online banking site. She logs in. That's strange. Her login failed. She tries again and it fails again. Scammers can make websites that look exactly like financial institutions' online banking website, just like they can make a website that looks just like a well-known business. And scammers use these fake sites to get your credentials. So the scammer now has Marcia's credentials because they were getting those credentials through that fake site. And now the scammers in the real online banking website and pulled up and ready to go. The scammer calls Marcia. He's even crafty enough to spoof the caller ID to appear like the call is coming from Health Advantage Credit Union. Marcia answers. The scammer graciously acknowledges Marcia's issues with her online banking and the transaction and offers help. Marcia welcomes the assistance. The scammer just needs her security code. The scammer presses the login button on the online banking site, which triggers the online banking multi-factor authentication security code to be sent to Marcia's phone. This message is actually coming from Health Advantage through online banking for authorizing a new device. The scammer did not actually send the code. Marcia, in a panic, proceeds to give the code to get the issue resolved. The scammer inputs her security code and now is in her online banking and has access to her money. The scammer tells Marcia that she won't have access to online banking for 24 hours while they investigate the transaction. Marcia feels relief that it's taken care of. And just as a note here, Health Advantage Credit Union specifically mentions to not share this security code with anyone, including Health Advantage, in every security code message. And if it is shared, this code, you may be responsible for any transactions that occur on your account due to providing that code. So it's very important to secure that code at all times. After the call, Marcia receives another text message that an external account was added to her online banking. Marcia doesn't know what this means. She recognizes that the credit union's true phone number is listed in the text message with a note to call if she did not make the request. She calls the credit union. In this scenario, the scammer did not ask Marcia to pay, but the payment the scammer was after was the external transfer through online banking. The scammer was after her online banking credentials in order to get to that payment method. So what steps should you take if you ever do experience this type of scam? Don't respond immediately. If you don't recognize the transaction, take a moment to verify. Don't click on any links in any messages or call any numbers that aren't our actual phone number, that you don't recognize as our official phone number. And log into your online banking or call the credit union through your normal method. So if you typically go to the online banking through your computer, go to your online banking through your computer, or if you have the mobile app, go to the mobile application. Never click on any links. And ultimately call the credit union to just confirm the legitimacy of the text. Also, as a note, if Health Advantage does call you, we will never ask you for a security code. We will never add a contact or external transfer to your account or ask you to conduct a test transaction. We will not ask you for full account numbers, card numbers, social security numbers, or other personal identifying information. And we will not ask you to keep information secret from another representative at Health Advantage Credit Union. Please also note that this is one variation of the scam. Often they are after online banking credentials, but they could also be after card numbers, cash, wires, money transfer apps, cryptocurrency. You never know what they're going to come up with next. If you ever feel that you are not speaking to a Health Advantage Credit Union representative, hang up and call 989-791-7070. If you accidentally hang up on one of us, we will understand. It's better safe than sorry. So I just wanted to provide a few research resources here. So Better Business Bureau, they have a scam tracker. This is a good resource for if you're looking at a new website that maybe you want to make a purchase on. They have a good search tool. We'll actually be going into that a little bit more in the next session. And commodity futures trading commission. This is where you can research precious metal or coin investment dealers to make sure that they're registered appropriately. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, where you can research investments before investing, because again, they do have to be registered appropriately. And then the North American Securities Administrators Association, which is where you can find out more about the state requirements of investments as well to make sure an investment company is meeting all requirements before making an investment. So we have come to the end of the presentation. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you had a few takeaways. If anything, please remember to share what you've learned, whether here or somewhere else about scams with others. The more that everybody knows, the less likely we will fall victim to scams.